We talked about Hogan here a second ago, and I wanted to ask, would you're paired up with Randy Savage, and all's well that ends well because you guys had put on a hell of a match, and as you mentioned, it's the first time you got to work with him, and it was great. But on the surface, when you're finding out you're working with Savage as opposed to being, in the main event of WrestleMania against Hogan, would there have been any disappointment?
Uh, hmm. Well, WrestleMania 4 actually ended up being Savage,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the main event because we ended up being the last two guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when we had that match, and at WrestleMania 4, Savage wins, becomes the world champion, and I go on that run. But the thing is, Hogan was involved. I mean, a lot of the matches that I had, it was a lot of Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I wasn't. You know, again, I look at it. It's kind of like, maybe I sound like the $1 million man now. I look at it from the financial view.
Right.
What is going to make me the most money? Would a run with the world title make me a little more money? It might have, but it would have been very short lived. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
As a heel, now if I was a baby face, if I was a Randy Savage, and actually I'm the guy who turned Randy Savage babyface
Right.
because up until that time, he was a bad guy. And so then, when he beat me and he became champ, then he became a babyface, and that would be different. But as a heel, you know, I study my opponents, and that's what it's about.
Fascinating and a cool perspective. I think that a lot of people on the surface would have said like, "Ah, man, it's Hogan was the biggest star in the industry, and I would have liked to have worked with him in the main event." However, just from a financial standpoint, as you pointed out, it's like, look, you're the heel in the main event at WrestleMania, so either way, you're walking away with probably a pretty nice paycheck. So
Absolutely.
yeah, really, really nothing to complain about.
And
The,
now the only money money lost, obviously, if you're the world champion, I guess there's some extra bucks that come along with being that. But like I said before, I wouldn't have been that champion very long because, again, Vince McMahon had made wrestling family entertainment, and I started getting it. It's like,
Mhm.
and once I started to understand what he was doing, I said, "This is a stroke of genius, really." He's taken wrestling, which was pretty much like you know. You weren't going to see a lot of polo shirts and khaki pants at the wrestling matches. It was like it was like that. It wasn't that type of deal. And what like what do you call it? Wrestling was blue collar crowd form of entertainment
Yes.
up until Vince McMahon taking it and targeting children with it, and making action figures and all that stuff. And of course, if you have a good guys, you got to have your bad guys too for them to battle. And so I got that, and I understood that had I won the world title, I was going to keep that very long because the kids, the market now that the Vince is targeting, they want the champion to be their hero.